It's just a few minutes past 12 on October 15th. We're meeting virtually at the Mayor's Advisory Commission on the Arts. Welcome everyone, and thank you again. As always, we appreciate your time, and we will try to be sensitive to our the time we take today. This meeting. Yes. And we'll start out with the to find out if everyone's had a moment to take a look at the minutes from our past meeting. If so, is there a offer to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. And a second by chance?
Second from Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you both. And we could move forward then. We'll talk about that virtual art tour initiative. And I don't know who'd like to lead that conversation. I don't know if that's Monica or who'd like to lead that, where we are on that one today.
I can jump in, though I do apologize. I did miss the last month's meeting, so I'd be a little bit out of the loop. Looks like Mark together based on, I think, the discussion on last meeting, the compilation of some of the artwork that we would like to, I guess, include, though we are limited on space. In that fabulous list, there's actually columns for what's currently in the online gallery on our on the city website. If we have the description on file, the picture on file, and if for the video included in virtual tour. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review that and how we want to proceed with next steps, I guess, in narrowing that down.
Well, since we only have, oh, excuse me, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stacy, sorry to interrupt. Would you want me to share that? I could share that with the group so they could see the list.
Oh, that would probably be helpful to everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me do that here.
And you'll see then when he shares this list that there are 19 listed items on that list. So I don't know if we really need to pare anything down at this point. If we have additions to this list, that's when we have a space for 20, as I understand.
Okay, that's fabulous.
Nope, that's not the right screen.
Close enough. We're getting there.
That's right. I have too many things open on my computer. I apologize. Just a second here. Let me close this out.
Also, I wasn't sure if this came up in the last meeting, because the removal of the Andrew Jackson statue is on the ballot. Is that something that we should defer until that's confirmed, or how do we want to proceed with that?
You know, that brings up a couple of really important points of conversation for today. And it circles a little bit around art policy, as I've learned. So since the county owns that property, I think we're going to be referencing just the location of that item. It won't be a property that the city owns, so we won't have to address the issues that might surround policy of assessment or deaccession of that item. I don't think it would hurt to have it included at this particular point, because if it's deaccessioned, there's a story that goes with that as well. And we might want to use that as an opportunity to tell that story. We might not. That's a conversation we should have. So we're looking at the list here, and oh, this is great.
Stacy, I have a question. This is Nancy.
Yes.
I have a question. Let's say worst case scenario, and the choice is to remove that statue. of Andrew Jackson. Do they have an end game where to place that? And is there any type of end game looked at so that possibly that we could acquire that, or do we want to acquire that? I just wondered if that has even entered into any type of conversation.
To my knowledge, at this point, there is no conversation regarding that element, and that is one of those shortcomings on the fact that we don't have policy for this right now. But in that context, I think that as an art commission, we should make a plan for how we would like to approach that. And we will also, of course, then use that for a guideline to include in our future completed policy. It's really something that I never imagined that we would ever even deal with, even though it's peripheral and one of those things that's typically included in public art policy. So to address it right now, I think that we need to have a conversation and an agreement and make our recommendation to the mayor and have that conversation or suggestion with her to make that final decision. And of course, we're going to have to do that promptly.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's a conversation we need to. I think it's a conversation we should have. If we could go back to just this list at this particular time, though, let's take a look at this list and see how we want to move forward with it, and what questions we need to add, or what questions we have immediately for all the other pieces, at least.
I guess one of the first questions that I had is how do we want to proceed with acquiring, I guess, pictures to add? That's something that we just want to add names to the ones that are missing pictures, and then like have a due date, I guess, on going out and taking photos and compiling them back.
It's a good question. Anybody have suggestions for that solution?
I just wrote my name down by the ones at Community of Christ. I think I can go steal photos. I mean, I probably have some of my own, but I think I can go get them to give me their photos.
So those would be the ones listed in item or number 5. Site
5,
number.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just assign that to you, Cindy, site number 5. And if you can just find those photos someplace else, that would be ideal. If it comes to a point where you have to collect photos yourself, how do you want to respond to that, or how do you think we should respond to that? I mean, I hate to just have a quick snapshot up there when these pieces really deserve, you know, exceptional presentation.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I'm confident I can get some. They have it in a brochure, so I know they have the original photos.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So I can search for the ones on 1 through 4 that have no by them. And then I guess the next step is not something professional out on the internet, and we can discuss having something taken.
I think that's smart.
Okay.
I think that probably the Truman Library pieces are available somewhere, somehow. And I'm guessing that
Can we take ones that are on their website? I mean, I guess we could just call and ask permission, but they have these pictures on their website.
well, that I mean, I think we should do that. If it's on the website, and it's not copyrighted by use on the photo itself, I think that it makes it fair game. I could be wrong about that. We definitely want to be absolutely accurate. We're the example for copyright, security here. So I guess we should look for image markings that identify it as copyrighted or copyright use required. And if we see something like that, go to the site, I'm sure they would give us approval at the Truman Library, but ask permissions just so we can have that, accurately in place.
I'll shoot Dr. Graham an email and just ask him if he can guide me towards pictures that we can use.
That would be great. And I know they have dynamic images available of those. So, I mean, that mural is a tough one to collect with the snapshot, So I think it's important that we represent those well. And I'm sure they would be happy to, make sure their information is available to the public even more than it is already. So I can't imagine that got down.
So this says we already have a picture of the Tom Park bed mural.
I think it's one that I had taken from their website. I think that's where that one came from.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one that's on the city gallery or on our commission page.
Okay.
Oh, good. We didn't steal it then.
We don't even have to call it stealing. Let's see here. What other ones have a no by them? Let's see. I think we have. Well, Monica and Cindy, just to reach out to another commission member or to anyone that you think could be helpful if you have some questions or need help with these things. And if we do need to come up with a photographer, or you think that we should, let us know. Let us know pretty, when you can, let us know. The Art Center mural on item 12 there. What about those memorial building pieces? Do you think those memorial building pieces are in photographs somewhere, Morris?
I'm not sure. I know the Trails Museum one, I think we had pictures of, but I mean, we could certainly get some pictures of them, but I would think we would have some already somewhere. I can check on that.
I will look into number 12 for Inglewood, site number 12 there. And I think that we have there's the Art Center mural, and is the Duncan, is that one on the list? The sculpture on the Swan Dive, is that one on our list? I sent the picture and the information to Mark.
I don't know. What's the location again?
In Inglewood.
Oh,
I see it on the preliminary list that was also added to this for public art for virtual tour.
Yeah, it just isn't on that.
It's number 13 on that list.
No, that's the bronze, that Byron's bronze. The number 12 is a
this was an additional list, Stacy. It says preliminary list of public art for virtual tour. It was a separate sheet.
Oh, I gotcha. It's probably right here. Yes, I'm sorry. I have the extra sheet right here. Okay. Yeah, number 13 on that list. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I can provide photos of that one, and it needs to be included in there in the Inglewood Art District.
okay. I'll make a note of that.
Okay. Okay, and I will look into number 10, site number 10, see if we have a photo of that transit center, the globe, the world. I think there probably is. But. How about at the drum farm? Can somebody take those? Oh no, we have photos, don't we? Can somebody look at the number 11, the Truman Memorial Building pieces?
Yeah, I'll look into those. This is
Okay.
Morris.
Morris, this is Nancy. If you don't have photographs or good photographs you have, I'm right across the street. I would be happy to come over and take some pictures if you want, because I have a high quality Nikon that I use. So
Okay, well, if you want to go ahead and do that, I don't know. I would just have to ask Eric if he knows of any existing pictures. So might be, if you're fine with doing that, that might be a quicker route to take.
yeah, that's no problem. But but if they've already have like a high quality photo, I mean, you want me to take that on, Morris? Just go ahead and find
Sure.
out.
Yeah. If
Okay,
you're willing
I'll
to
do that. I'll take that.
Thanks, Nancy.
No problem.
So you're taking the Truman Memorial Building. Okay. What about at the drum farm? Can somebody take those two?
I have on the list here, are their pictures already available on file, it says?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was looking.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. These two columns were yes, but listed on City Online Gallery, no.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Okay.
So.
Good deal. Then we have it covered. Looks like we will have it covered. So that would that is a total of 19 pieces. Am I right? Well, it's more than that, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
there's locations.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
The Truman Courthouse, I just noticed this, the Caleb Bingham portrait collection.
Yes.
Obviously we had professional pictures taken of each one. Did you want those?
Well, personally, I would, but I don't know if we can accommodate that. I wonder if it needs to swing over when you get something like that. If you need to show, like, it shows the collection is here, and this is a sample of the collection. But to see the collection, you have to go to the next page or the next site where you can see the whole, all of them. I don't know if that's how it should work, or if it even can work like that.
So in the app, have it direct the user from the app to the website so they can view it there.
Well, I would assume that Cindy has a website for those.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Right. So,
Not my deal. This is Ken, so I have no idea. I don't think so.
yeah.
I mean, if there's a problem with them putting it in the app, could we put that on the city website and then have it direct there?
I don't know the answers to these things.
Oh, sorry.
Well, maybe we'll just collect them and then that we have them. I mean,
I like what Cindy just said. Once we get a collection and we have a portfolio, then we can probably go forward and use them however we need. And I'd rather have a portfolio than not have one.
I agree. That makes good sense. So that portfolio would just be kept on a like personal computer. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I would think so. Just somebody keep the file.
Okay. So, could we get a copy of each one of your photos and put them in a compressed file and have them available for use at a later time for something like that? You may have that in, I mean, Ken might have that in place already, just for security reasons, for no other.
Yeah, that I think that he probably does.
Okay. So, explain to me again, I guess, when we have, for example, the Truman Courthouse and it has 4 or 5 pieces, does that count as one because they're all in the same area?
This is Morris. Yeah, I believe so. We have you can have multiple items at each site. We can only have a total of 20 site locations. So the Truman Courthouse would be considered one site, I believe.
Okay.
You could have multiple items at that location.
So as soon as we get, I'm assuming that this is then our list to work with right now. We can cover it right now. So if this is our list right now, we get all the photographs that we need and the information that we need, then the next step is to do what on our part?
This is Morris again. I assume if it's voted on, this is the approved list and these are the locations and we have the pictures, then we could communicate with the folks on the app and get that started as far as, getting everything set up. Once the list
Right.
is approved.
So how does everybody feel about our list? Do we feel like it's comprehensive? Are we leaving anything out?
I think it looks good. I think it's a good start.
I agree. I mean, can we add to it? Like if a month later we decide, oh, there's something missing, how easy, I guess, would it be at that point to add or
Personally, I think this should be a living file or document because we don't know what's going to be happening or what can happen in the near future or even the far future. So I think it should be like an open portfolio. This is a fantastic start, but we don't know what else is going to be added.
I mean, how easy is it for them to update the app and do they charge when they update the app?
So my understanding is we get up to the 20 different locations, and I think that's included with our payment that they, if you decide at one point, number 20 you want to remove and you want to add a different number 20, I think they will do that for us. At least that's my understanding.
I had that general understanding as well. And in fact, they were pretty lenient really with some adjustments and additions and things. So as long as we weren't doing it every week, I think that they're actually pretty good with it. I would like to give them everything complete on the first, our first, when we first start. If we have every single thing in place, every bit of the language as well as the photos. So I would really hope that we could get the photos and the language all firmed up here, like within the end of this month, if possible. And I don't know if we need to vote on it after we look at the photos of this or just what exactly, but it would sure be great if this was up before, if it got up in November. That would be wonderful. November, December, that would be really great.
Well, Stacy, just a suggestion, would it be advisable to maybe have a goal of having all the pictures for the next meeting and then could kind of review those, finalize the list, and maybe that's just a suggestion, but.
How do the rest of you feel about that suggestion? Have the pictures by November.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Then we'll add to the agenda. Yes.
I was wondering, should we start a Google Drive or some sort of document sharing platform for all of our information?
I think that would be immensely helpful. Would you like to manage that?
I can do that, yes.
That
Yeah,
would be wonderful.
I'll get that set up.
That would be wonderful. And, the sooner the better for all of us. We got these things in there that would just move us forward. So our next meeting is November 12th. If we plan for an agenda item on our November 12th meeting to confirm and have a final vote for the items that go on our virtual art tour, that would be awesome to complete. A great task would be accomplished. That would be awesome.
And did you want to add to that reviewing pictures as well? Kind of
Yeah.
a third? Okay.
Yeah, to review what we have and
Okay.
just make a final decision.
Okay.
Are there any, the other point to this is once we have this available, we really want to make sure people know it's available. So I don't have suggestions for doing that, but I think it's an important element of the success of the overall project. So does anybody have any suggestions for raising the awareness of this awesome virtual tour that's going to be available?
Yeah, we could
I
post
think-
it on the Instagram and Facebook and those social media sites.
I know that.
This is Cindy.
Please go ahead.
Go,
Cindy.
Stacy.
Well,
No, go, Stacy.
Trent Austin had emailed that he wasn't available today for this meeting, but he reminded me that he has been working towards some social media elements that he wanted to suggest to the commission. So I think that's really his really strong area of his expertise, and I think we'll be able to look to him for that. I don't know how, if he wants to be the person that does it, or if he just wants to tell us about it, or exactly what his role would be. But I do think he has a strong understanding and ability to utilize social media adequately. So
I think maybe one of the other things that we do is have the mayor do one of her Facebook announcements. She could talk about it, and then I don't know whether people read the newsletters and the utility bills, but we could do a little blurb in the utility bill. I mean, certainly a headline on the city site.
This is Morrissey, and that would certainly be potential. I think there's kind of a little bit of a lead time to get those in that utility bill and from, flyer or whatever. So just FYI, I'm not sure what those dates are, but there is a little bit of, there'd be a delay there because it's a little ways out, I think. So.
Then a lot of people look at that utility bill in the neighborhood, the next door neighborhood whatever that site is that people can go to for their community.
Oh, the Nextdoor app. Yeah.
Yes. I wonder if, is that something that's a good tool to use? I know that sometimes there's public information that's put on there, like for street maintenance or different things like that. And that's more immediate, I guess. I'll write that down as one option to consider. The app.
A lot of people look at that. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more conversation or questions that we'd like to include in this discussion of our virtual art tour today? Thank you all for all that you're going to do, all that you have done, and looking forward to next month when we can make a final vote and get this done. Let's stamp it completed, and it'll be exciting. So thanks. Thank you all. Our next topic is art planning and funding, and I'm assuming that might be a conversation that Mark was going to lead. I'm not sure. Or maybe that's the follow-up from our visit from the social visit to the Inglewood Arts. I'm not sure exactly what that one is.
I'm not sure either. This is Morris again. Mark, unfortunately, at the last minute wasn't able to attend the meeting today, so I'm trying to fill in for him as best as possible. But I'm not sure to answer your question, Stacy.
I'm gonna just guess that it was the social gathering at Inglewood Arts, and there were several who attended and learned a little bit about what was going on at that in that project and their goals. And obviously we were educated on their organization and how you know, they have a lot of people and a lot of processes in order and supporting one another all at the same time. They are raising funds, and they are successfully raising those funds for their very specific projects. I know right now they have a matching grant option, and they're working with in concert with the Truman Heartland Community Foundation. And it's one of those online kind of donation sort of things that you can support the community. And they are very specific. They have funds, fund goals for specific projects for their art class studio and for the workshop tools, I believe, right now. And then there's a matching, some matching partner for those things. So that's really all I can tell you about what I know about those things. If anybody has a comment that attended the social and like to offer something, please feel free to do so. I know Nancy and let's see, Tom Hall was there and Katie was there. I don't know if you guys want to offer anything from that.
They've been pretty comprehensive and engaging throughout the community at different events, and the presentation, maybe that many of us have already heard their presentation, but it's something to look at what they're doing. And from my perspective is learning a lot what they're doing correctly and well, and also being able to engage broadly with different tasks that we have before us.
Well, it was nice. It was a nice event to see what all was going on. It's exciting for independence.
I agree. Stacy, you did very well at your presentation. So,
well, I hope that I gave a little bit of history about the Art Commission and who we are, and what our vision is for the city, for public art, and for all things related to improving our city in the immersion of culture and art. So it was not a great public speaker, but I was generously received. They were very kind to me. So I told them how great you all are and how much you work without being paid to do really tough tasks. And there's an appreciation for us too. So they will be looking to us for a number of things to guide them. And I guess that really leads me to our next point of discussion, which is art policy. They really are looking to us to give them really the rules and regulations, the toolbox for accomplishing the work that they would like. And so I have done a great amount of research on this topic, and generally policy is created through first, kind of a master plan or a general or a broad scope master plan or strategic plan. Ours is going to be really self-focused, and we're going to need to identify the things that we want to be able to address for this city through policy in art and culture. And so that's why I emailed you the little paper. I should have given it to you more. I don't know that I did, about really what is public art and why does public art matter, and what is public art policy and why does that matter. So I passed along those 2 pages to you, along with some examples of art policy from different cities and their various methods of addressing it. And I gave you the link, I guess, for some of those, as well as their actual policy. The one link that I gave you, though, is from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they have a absolutely incredibly active art and culture. I don't know, their whole art and culture scene for Albuquerque is huge. And their method of presenting art policy is, to the public at least, is different than all the other ones that I looked at. And it was very interesting because it was so friendly, it was so readable, and it seemed like it was not extremely, it didn't scare anybody away because it was all, administrative speak. It was so down to earth, and it really was inviting. So if you have a chance to open the Albuquerque link and look how they have it described in different areas, they have all of those very specific ordinances that apply to their areas, but they do it in such a manner that each one of those areas is developed in a real friendly manner and a real easy to read, and everything includes the process. It doesn't just say, here are the rules. It says, here's how to use the rules. So I think the important thing for us to include is not only the policy, but the procedure, how to actually, you want to make a mural. What is the procedure? Where do I go to find that information? How do I get to make a mural? And so they develop each one of those areas independently, which all of the art policies do, but theirs was in such a manner that it gave the procedure at the same time that it gave the policy and a little understanding of what the expected outcome was for both the participant and for the commission or the administration. So I have made a little framework of the areas for us to develop, and I am just working on developing all of those areas. I have a couple of meetings with 2 different people who want to take a look at giving me some guidance on how to form the answers to all of our questions, the questions that we want to answer in our policy. So generally, all of them start out with the statement of purpose, which we have that. They, as I mentioned, we want to have policy as well as procedure so that everybody knows. It's very transparent. Everybody knows what to expect, and they give all the parties the guidance and describes the approvals and the appeals, all the processes that would go along with it. And that way, everybody's comfortable knowing they're going to be treated with equity and fairness, and if they have concerns, there's a next step, an appeals step, and so forth. So then it usually goes on to give definitions, and that's obviously all of those parts that anyone might be confused by or unclear about. For example, what's public property? What's private property? It seems really obvious when you say the words, but it gets down to things like in the technical details, it gets down to things like easements, rights of that use of those easements, and how to achieve the use for areas that might be in question, and all that stuff. Then it will go on to identify the parties, who's the art commission, what we do, what we're held accountable to and for, the city administration and what their role is, how it comes to different parts of the city at different times for different purposes. But it's all laid out. Once again, transparency. It's going to keep us, it keeps people competent and keeps people, they're not worried that somebody's going to try to manage their work inappropriately or sell it off, not give them the rights of ownership to their copyrighted work and so forth. So the details that I'm seeing that we probably need to address beyond those general things, content and so forth, are our percent for art program, which we have started, but I think it's going to get it a little tighter here by doing this. Separately, murals, so it applies appropriately in historic property art districts, historic districts, and art districts, public property and private property. So it'll identify all those things and give everybody confidence that they're being protected and they won't have inappropriate content, and it won't be all those things that we worry about and people are unhappy about. We'll clarify things for maintenance, installation, appropriateness. Then we need to have some areas where it will be more flexible, things where it's for temporary projects, but we still need to have some guidelines, how we can be timely and appropriate for performances or weekend events, or maybe Santa Caligan, or anything that's we know we should anticipate, and we can work from those things, but have available for the future for things we don't anticipate, something that's going to come to us that we're not prepared for, but we have guidelines then to know how to approach those sorts of things. And it helps the applicant to know we're going to treat them fairly, of course, but that will be timely and will be sensitive to something that doesn't exactly fit with our exact policy. So we want to always keep it flexible so it's still open for creativity. And then we will probably want to include references that already point to things like the historic ordinances, our district ordinances, sign ordinance, percent for art ordinance, all those different elements. We'll point to those things so that they can look to that. And also one thing I really found great on one of them was for amendments. They requested at least every 5 years, beginning with the year of the adoption, that the Arts Committee will review the document for modification and submit any amendments for review and approval. So I thought that was important to keep things alive, keep things up to date. And that wouldn't obviously prohibit anyone from doing it prior to that. The bottom line is that our goal is to create a guide for anyone or any group to easily access and easily understand how to create, fulfill their artistic or whatever their exceptional artistic goal is. Whatever they want to do, we want to be there to help them, and we want to make sure they know how to be helped. So once again, it leads me to the question of how do we want to make this available to those who have questions or interest in doing so. You know, how do we, on our web page, can we have more pages that will lead us into each area of interest, like a process for, without putting our whole policy up there, how do we organize the information so it's accessible to the public? That's my question. Morris, do you have any idea about what our limitations are for our web page on the city site?
I doubt if there's probably too many limitations. So I don't think that's probably an issue. I mean, I would think you would want, once the art policy is fully adopted, I would think you'd want to probably have the full document, maybe as a downloadable, link or something. But I don't think that's probably, going to limit things as far as the web page, whatever you want to add. So that's, again, just my perspective. So easy
Great.
for me to say, but
well, thank you.
I wouldn't be the one doing it.
No, thank you for that. I am hoping that we can exactly have the page or have the document downloadable for anyone in full, but I would really like it to be divided up. I think it would be helpful if it were divided up into areas of interest that, for example, percent for art, and then we can guide people if they have a question about a percent for art for public property, or a percent for art for developers and incentives, and maybe a list of those that have been given, so cover the whole area. And the same with murals, and the same with every other facet that's critical. So
just a suggestion, but perhaps once the art policy is fully, completed, maybe like you're saying, bits and paragraphs related to certain key points are then added to the website, and then, to see more, click here, and then it would take you to the full page or something, kind of a teaser that would give them enough information to, oh, that's what I'm interested in. But that's just one way to do a website. So again, just a suggestion. But
I like that, and I think that's in general kind of what the Albuquerque site has, something like a little bit like that. I think that is a really friendly way to help people to participate, and it was easy access that way. I am continuing to develop the policy based on all of those things that I just mentioned to you. I have a lot of material here, and I'm paring it down, and I've been absolutely swamped with my office work. But I actually have now time to be able to give you a little bit more of what I have here. There's stacks of paper in each one of these categories. And that's why I was hoping that we might be able to, or I discussed earlier, maybe being able to have a work, kind of a work meeting. So if I could pare down a little bit of this information into the different categories, I wondered if there are those of you who might be willing to meet virtually or otherwise in a very safe manner to work through some of the elements, to weed out a little bit of information and get the key information included in here. Would that be possible for anybody between now and our next meeting? Or is there even interest in doing that?
I'd be happy to, Stacy.
I would be interested to help as well. This is Chelsea.
Thanks, Chelsea.
I can help too.
Can we set a tentative date for that and see if we can get it scheduled? If we do it virtually, I understand, I think I understand correctly that we need to still post our meeting or give a little advance notice of the meeting taking place. And then we'll have to get a time that won't conflict with other meetings because they can only do one at a time, if I understand correctly.
So can I just weigh in and ask a question?
Yes.
I think if the meeting you're proposing would be considered a regular meeting of the Mayor's Art Commission, that would have to be similar format like we have here. If you're proposing more like a subcommittee is meeting to talk more, because it doesn't sound like it'd be the entire group. Is that correct?
You're correct.
So and let me check on that just to confirm, but I'm not sure that the same stipulations would apply. So, we will let you know on that. So.
Oh, good. Because
with Planning Commission, like we have pre small meetings with just myself and Bill, Mondays with Jordan, and we don't have to post that. So I don't know if that falls into that category, but it's kind of like a study session, but.
That's exactly.
And I think, Cindy, it'd be the same idea. Yeah. So I think that would.
And Stacy, this is Nancy. I'd be happy to lend a hand, but I'm getting ready to have some knee surgery next month, and I'm involved in a couple other big projects. But I'd be happy to weigh in if I am available.
Well, we'll keep you. I will actually invite everybody every time we meet. Join in whenever you.
Sounds good.
Well, then again, I would just suggest that if it's again everybody. The whole commission is meeting, then it would be considered a regular meeting.
Oh.
So that would, whereas if it's more like like the mural selection, I think 3 members, it was like a subcommittee. That wasn't the whole entire body, the whole, commission. So it's just kind of different rules for different situations.
Okay. Well, how about we do it like this then? I'm going to break this down into 5. I kind of have 5 general categories. Why don't I find out who wants to participate with each one of those areas, if at all you want to do 1 or 2 or all of them or none of them, then we'll know if we have the whole group or just a few of you. Would that work?
That sounds great. And this is Monica. I apologize. I have to drop. I have another call right now. So.
And I apologize for stealing too much of your time, but why don't I just email a poll to all of you so that you'll know, we'll know who wants to work on which area, and we'll just keep it like that. And if we come to a place where everyone wants to work on it, I will reach out to Morris or Mark and we'll get it scheduled appropriately. That work?
That sounds awesome.
Okay.
And I also have to drop off, Stacy, so I'm sorry.
I am too. So thank you all for your time. I we'll call for an adjournment right now, swiftly. I apologize for taking too much of your time today. Thank you so much for your help and your participation. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.